Welcome everybody to the casual Seal Amateur League cast. I'm your play-by-play caster, Willis King of Games, here with my color caster,
Monkey, the man of the hour.
and today we have another series of interesting games to cast, Monkey. We're going to be starting off with Aces Angels versus the Bronze X Penguins.
And throwing into draft, I would like to make one comment right off the bat. I have some background knowledge. This Akali is not actually Akali for the context of this draft. It is a Syndra that was picked up by Ace. So I'd just like to preface this with the draft and how it will look for the entire game. And looking at this draft, it seemed like we'll start with Ace B1 pick on Morgana, which has been just a kind of solid support. Is all around good pairings with other characters, such as followed up by the Nocturne, the Syndra, the Tristana. And I'm liking this first Morgana pick, and then it forces the Bronze X Penguins to pick Morgana's main counter, a Zyra, and then a questionable Amumu pick. What do you make of this, Willis?
Honestly seen a lot of Amumu play, no matter what games I've been playing. You know, he seems to be a very niche pick for a lot of teams, and I'm very interested to see if they can actually make this Amumu work out.
Yeah, so am I, because the Morgana does counter the Mumu with the Black Shield, but then the answer to this R1, R2 from the Bronze X Penguins is the Nocturne Shen, which tells me that they want to make plays around the map. You have this crazy combo and engage with the Nocturne Shen, and they want to go for picks. This is like their comp picks, the Syndra, like I mentioned there, and the Tristana wants to go in and do picks, where we turn to the side of the Bronze X Penguins, and it's more they have a team fighting comp. You have Miss Fortune as the R3 pick, so they have combo with the Mumu, Zyra, and Miss Fortune, and then followed up by the Lilia and Veigar for more control. And which this draft honestly worries me for the Bronze X Penguins, because you have one damage threat, the Miss Fortune. And if Miss Fortune does not stay even or get ahead into the lane of Tristana, Morgana, which shouldn't be a problem if Zyra's good, but if they do fall behind, it will crumble under their feet. And that's what I'm worried about for these Penguins here.
I do have to say as well, however, Aces Angels really has to stay on this Veigar. If they give that Veigar a chance, I mean, a lot of people underestimate how good late game Veigar can really be. You know, his potential to just come out and one-shot champions in the late game. If they can't keep that Veigar down, then potentially we're seeing team fights just turn to 5v4s in the favor of Bronze X Penguins.
And we also have to be careful. I know it's confusing with the Akali, but the Syndra can also create picks. We have her stun and then her one-shotting capability on this Miss Fortune, and that's why I'm worried, because it is an ADC into the Syndra Nocturne Shen combo. So if she dies, it's pretty much over for sustained damage, where Veigar provides more burst, and so does Lilia. A little bit less so. So we're just going to have to see how this plays out and just jump right into the game.
All right, and we're back into the game now. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see whether either team tries to make any level 1 plays. We do see right off the bat on the side of Aces Angels, all 5 heading top lane. While
and it's matched. And it's matched by the Bronze X Penguins on the bottom side river there. Lily is a little bit slow, but they seem to also want to do a level 1 play on the bot side. We'll see what this will result in.
Yeah, it looks like Aces Angels wanted to make some kind of play, perhaps to get their top lane ahead, get the Shen in a stronger position against his opponent in the top lane. But luckily for Bronze X Penguins, they had the same idea down there in the bot lane.
Yes, and you know, it seems to be just like kind of a neutral level 1. So I do want to speak about certain matchups here, and one in particular is the Shen Lilia. So Shen as a champion is great, and it seems that any champion, Lilia has been released in the last, 2 months now? So people have found out that her main counter is actually just jumping on opponents, or like not Lilia's counter is being jumped on by assassins. And we'll see that by the Shen, who's going to jump onto her during fights, and Lilia finds the invade by the Nocturne and the Shen on the top side, just trading.
In the bottom side, the Morgana has also found the counter invade. Both red buffs getting stolen.
Lilia does seem to want to get a pick here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we do see the Veigar leading the Nocturne away. Nocturne was doing Raptors. Shen is on his way out of there. Lilia really doing a lot of damage to him, but now the Nocturne's stepping in. Lilia's got to back off. Except, no, she doesn't. The Nocturne is being brought down low as well. With their tails between their legs, the Shen and the Nocturne are playing really defensive against this Lilia, who's at 3/4 health, just chasing down this Shen. And that will get the first blood.
First blood. It's honestly Summer's spell choice on that Lilia. We see she doesn't take the flash TP as many top laners took. She took Ghost and Exhaust, which the Ghost is great. I very much agree with this. She's going a Conquer build into the Shen. She wants to be able to kite out the Shen and stack her Conquer and throughout the team fight as well. But the thing I'm interested in is the Exhaust. So we see Zyra is taking a Knight for lane pressure, and the whole Ace's Angels want to dive onto the carries, such as Lilia as a main target, Viger, and as I mentioned before, the Misfortune as the main target. So the Exhaust will actually help later on in team fights, as all of Bronze X Penguin's team fight, or their whole comp is around team fighting together with the Amumu ult, with the Misfortune ult. And we'll see how this kind of plays out the later the game goes.
Exactly. Everyone now fully getting into their laning phase. We do see Nocturne was hanging around near that top river, but Lilia was nowhere to be found for the gank to happen between him and Shen.
And I'm really liking this Lilia pick already. We see her items. She has the Corruption Potion, which she started with and allowed her to get these kills, staying healthy relatively during the fights. And then she now has a Dark Seal and boots. This is perfect for her, as she wants to stay in these sustained fights with the Dark Seal's unique passive of longer potions, as well as the boots to be able to kite around the Shen. And because this Shen has Grasp of the Undying into this weird matchup, I don't think he'll get pretty much anything out of it, and this will just be a horrible time for him in the top lane. He also has no potions. He only has his Dorn Shield, so there's not much he can do with that into this lane, and he'll constantly be pushed in.
Exactly, and this is, if Lilia can keep up this pressure all the way up to level 6, we might not even see this Shen get to really do what he wants to do, applying pressure across the board, if this Lilia keeps up these sustained fights, keeping him down low on health and keeping him on the constant back foot in that top lane.
It seems that Zyra Misfortune combo ball lane is paying off for them. They have lots of aggressive plays, pushing in the wave to allow Mumu to get river control bot side, as well as the Veigar, who is keeping control, versus the Syndra, which I'm very surprised about, in the mid lane. And we see Nocturne trying to go into the bot side river with no pressure from his laners.
It's absolutely unfortunate there, because the Zyra and the Misfortune were there already to back up the Amumu and the Dragon take.
And it seems as they just completely denied it. And again, bot lane heads bot, keeping the pressure on to make sure that the Amumu, who is notably a very, very weak early game jungler, is able to farm versus Nocturne, who, on the contrary, is very aggressive.
Yeah, as we see, Misfortune and Zyra are now falling back into a neutral phase. Morgana and the Tristana have pushed it back to the mid. Both minion waves are about even. But the Amumu is hiding in that river. He wants to get this gank in, and he's going to charge in there. He's going to go for this. He gets the stun onto the Tristana, who has to flash, gets healed, and now gets away, but has to recall. This is just going to give this Zyra Misfortune so much more control in the bot lane for at least another 10-15 seconds.
Yes, and so now Tristana has to recall, and now this is the time for Misfortune and the Zyra to push in the wave extremely hard to get their reset off. So, based on Tristana's buy, I'm assuming that the Misfortune has about a Greaves as well, or is close to her BF sword. So maybe she is trying to play it slow to get this BF sword. And the Lilia pick, like I mentioned before, it's so impressive into this Shen with no pots. And she just keeps pushing him in and forcing him back, and can't do anything, really. So he's going to have to rely either on his jungler to come up, or he's just going to have to take the weak side of the map and try to play elsewhere to try to deny the Zyra and the Misfortune from getting ahead. But it seems as it's doomed if this Nocturne doesn't try to do anything, and we have the TP on the
Shen TP'd up on the river looking to cut this Lilia off, but now he's been put to sleep in the cradle by Lilia, who now turns it onto him. She once again stays at full health while the Shen is being brought down to low health in what was a very quick encounter.
And then Nocturne matching the timers, knowing that Amumu's clears early game are not the best as he's weak, and goes for that red again. Some more trading in the middle. Syndra trying to get that solo kill, but as expected, honestly, the Syndra is a stronger laner than the Veigar. Veigar does have to kind of ramp up in damage as the game goes on. So we'll see him try to slowly scale and let his teammates take the brunt of the early game for him.
Exactly, and so far, I am really impressed with how Bronze X Penguins is playing this. As we do see the Nocturne ult coming in, charging in, is going to confirm the kill onto the Veigar. Get out of there with both his life and Syndra's life. Not much that Amumu can do there, coming in a little bit too late. But elsewhere on the map, Bronze X Penguins is doing everything right. You know, in the bot lane, they're showing a lot of aggression against their counterparts, while in the top lane, the Lilia is almost dominating the Shen in all these fights and trades.
Now she has 2 Dark Fields, so her sustain in lane has just gotten that much better, with the passive of the potions ticking longer than they would otherwise without them. And it seems as this Lilia is just all about this lane. She's going, I'm assuming that's a Rod of Ages first, and I'll probably be followed by either a Haunting Guise or a Rylai's, depending on what she wants to accomplish for this game to bring the damage or the utility. But we have Veigar here in the mid lane, who's probably going to be building the Hose, the GLP, as well as the Twin Shadows to be able to catch people out with his Glacial Augment, and honestly just rely on this Misfortune to carry the game. And it seems as they've chosen correctly, this Misfortune has complete control of bot lane. There's nothing the Ace's Angels can do against this pressure that Misfortune brings early game.
Exactly. We see Shen go in now against the Lilia, who dodged out of the way and has now turned it onto him, getting a little bit of damage onto the Shen.
So now we're just waiting for item spikes. So we have Dragon in 2 minutes, and Shen has built a Balmy Cinder, which is interesting versus this Lilia lane, as it seems super oppressive, and questionable why you didn't build a Spectre's Cowl first to maybe help with the Veigar, or not the Veigar rather, but the Lilia Qs to try to finish it into a Adaptive Helm, and then you have the Zyra Plant, you have Amumu's W, and so many other abilities that are kind of tick damage, and a little bit questionable, honestly.
Exactly, but with this Balmy Cinder, it's going to be practically impossible for this Shen to try to freeze this lane. Meaning every time his wave pushes out, he's going to have to step out there where the Lilia will have control and safety from that tower.
Now I'm looking at the mid laners items here. We have Syndra close to her Ludens already. She has the Blasting Wand, she has the Lost Chapter, and she wants to finish this Luden before the dragon comes up in 1 minute here. And then Veigar's on the other side with a cheaper buy, the GLP, but will bring a lot to teamfight that will surround the dragon with his cage that he'll provide with the GLP. And we have Amumu, or I'm so messed up with colors. I thought he was invading. We have the Nocturne and Amumu.
Yeah, Nocturne going in. Face checking that bush. Whether or not he realized that Amumu was waiting there, the Amumu's going to get it out of there before the Nocturne can really do anything.
And this dragon's looking very much in the favor of the Bronze X Penguins, as they have pressure in bot lane. They're forcing the Ace's Angels to recall, and we'll have complete pressure as the Mumu will have to move bot. Oh, he is recalling. So it would have been a lot better either he recalled earlier to try to match the dragon timer, or to just flat out not recall and clear his bot side and then move into the dragon, where Veigar and Syndra are in somewhat of an equal phase right here, because Veigar's zoning is very, very strong into these mid-range mages such as Syndra. So we'll just have to see how he can apply that pressure to push in just like he did. It seems like he wants to reset as well for this dragon, and the Tristana opts out of the recall, forcing herself under turret, maybe baiting for the Nocturne, who is there and has his paranoia. We'll see what will happen here.
Exactly, in the top lane, Lilia has pushed up against the tower. She's gotten 2 plates off that Shen, but the Shen ult is up. We do see the Nocturne coming in. He's got popped his ult. They're gunning down, and they're going to get that Zyra and chase the Misfortune out of there. The Amumu finally coming down, but the flashes and chaunts from the Shen onto the Misfortune means that she is on a sliver of health getting out of there, and the Amumu himself is going to die to the 4-man.
He saved the Misfortune. That's what was important there. The Misfortune cannot die there, as she'll lose kind of pressure on like her timings and whatnot, and then as a result, the Aces Angels do get control of the dragon and will take this Mountain Dragon, which will be extremely good for this team, as the Shen will build resistances as well as the Morgana with her Seeker's Arm Guard already in her inventory. And we see the damage kind of type on Bronze X Penguins is more sustained damage, or not sustained damage, but like burst damage in the sense that it has to be done over time. Like Misfortune's ult is a damage over time, but it's more of a burst. We also have Lilia, her Qs are all kind of over time damage, and this is what the Mountain Drake excels at, is to deny this damage. And you see he's already so much tankier with just a Negatron cloak. The Shen is taking substantially less damage with the help of the Mountain Dragon. So this Mountain Dragon will help Aces Angels a lot more than the Bronze X Penguins, and it's very important that they got that kill, or that dragon.
Exactly, we do see the Amumu coming top. Nocturne on his heels. Look like they want to make a fight out of this up here at the top lane. Nocturne waiting in the bush, clearing out that ward, while the Amumu circles around the tri-bush. The Lilia really wants to try to get this pick on the Shen. The Vygar had briefly made his way up the river as well, now heading back to lane. Nocturne looks like he wants to clear out some of these wards hanging out around the Rift Herald. And in the bot lane, once more, Misfortune Zyra are pushing hard against this Tristana Morgana.
Extremely impressive. This Zyra is a hard counter to Morgana, as explained in Champ Select, and paired with this Misfortune, who also pokes with her E, there's not much this Morgana can do. It's basically a 1v2 lane for this Tristana, and it's what she can do. Forcing the Morgana flash out, it's just everything's coming down.
And we see the Nocturne ult in response to the Misfortune ult. They charging in, but the Nocturne is on really low health. However, with the help of the Tristana and the Morgana, they're going to get double kill in the bot lane onto the Misfortune and the Zyra. That's very crucial for this Morgana and this Tristana to get back into the fight. This is going to give them 20 seconds uninterrupted of just being able to push their minion wave into this tower once these waves return.
And the Veigar solo kills the Syndra. It's the whole zone control of a mid-range mage. It's very hard for the Syndra to, if she doesn't land her abilities properly, Veigar just runs over her with the slows, with the stuns, with these abilities that do way too much damage, in my opinion, this early into the game, as he only has, what, the GLP and another amp tone. His passive is extremely, his Q's passive, or I'm not sure if they changed it, but I believe it's still his Q's passive, where he gains ability power for abilities hit, and it's honestly just extremely paying off this game.
Yeah, this is exactly what I like to see from Veigar. You know, a lot of people just really underestimate how much he can really start to build up that damage into the late game. And it seems so far the Syndra just has been unable to stop him from continuing to build up.
Definitely. And now, as we head into this mid game, it's very worrisome for these Aces Angels, unless they can get a kill here.
Yeah, they do in fact get that kill onto the Zyra down in the bot lane. Tristana jumping over, going into the Misfortune now. With the Morgana's help, they will get the kill into the Misfortune. The bot lane is now entirely switching. All the momentum and the pressure is now in the side of Aces Angels, which is what they need to see. You know, this bot lane pressure is going to allow them to continue to keep getting these dragons. In the top lane, Lily and Shen are going for a prolonged trade, both being brought down to half health, while the Vygar gets the kill into the Syndra once again in the mid lane. Bronze X Penguins are really going to have this strong mid lane. They're going to drop the Rift Herald just to get this tower as well. There's not much. Nocturne popping his ult, charging after the Veigar. Flashes on both the Vygar to get out of there. And now Amumu fighting the Nocturne. The Shen ult coming in. gets the kill onto the Amumu, chasing down this Rygar. Oh, we see his cage come down. He stuns, tries to get the kill on the Shen, but is just a little too low to go. But now Lilia charging in, going after it, puts the sleep onto the Nocturne, getting the shutdown kill. That is very big. That's a good 450 gold now in the hands of Lilia, who is now chasing down this Tristana. Really putting the hurt onto her. She's gonna have to jump out of there just to make sure she stays alive. But this Lilia is not looking to let up, as in the bot lane, Zyra and Misfortune are pushing this pressure. The Morgana unable to hold off both of them at the same time. Lilia has to run out of there as she's now being chased by the Syndra. Lilia popping that clarity. She's just throwing orbs as she runs across the river back into her territory.
The deer is prancing. Pops Ghost, run through the whole enemy line and just goes at it with her passive. And with the recently buffed Ghost, well, not that recent, but recent enough where it's still making a huge difference. The instant 20 to 30%, I forget the exact number, but I believe it's about 20%, movement speed increase that extends off of champion shutdowns. This is extremely impressive show by the Lilia and her choice of runes. It's, or her summoner spell, sorry. It's definitely paying off. And I like to highlight some things right here. So we have builds on the Ace's Angel. We have Nocturne with a Bork. This is very questionable, as his purpose this game is not to sustain fight. That's Shen's job, that's Tristana's job. It's also a little bit of Syndra's job, but she'll burst out a target. His job is more to jump onto that Misfortune and eliminate her. But now he won't be able to do that, as he's not building any lethality, which will be worrisome for the late game in how they want to approach fights. And then we also look at Shen's build. He's finishing off a Spirit Visage, which is a good, don't get me wrong, it's a very good item in general if you have healing like the Grasp, but there's so much damage that's sustained versus the Lilia, his matchup itself.
Nocturne popping his ult in response to the Vygar, getting close to killing the Syndra, chasing him down. The flash is gonna herald the death of that Vygar as the Nocturne gets out there alive.
Triumph. And that's why you take Triumph. That pretty much saved him there, as it looked like he took no damage to that turret, but the Triumph heal came through. The percent health that he gets from takedowns, is able to live through that turret shot. And like I was saying, the Abyssal Mask, or not Abyssal Mask, but the Adaptive Helm should have been his buy this game. But he's opting towards the Spirit Visage, which I'm not very happy about, honestly. And it's worrisome for the end game. And then, again, and now we have Tristana's build, too. She has a Storm Razor. Why?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what could be motivating to take that Storm Razor. You know, the increased attack damage and critical strike off of that. Is that really gonna... so we see an engagement goes down the turret. Misfortune pops her ult, but we see the Zhonya's on the Morgana, gonna keep her alive. But the burn onto the Tristana will confirm that kill.
Yeah, those minions are deadly. You gotta be careful with them. But yes, like I was saying, the Storm Razor is honestly completely useless this game, as she shouldn't be the one trying to get picks, and Amumu's popping off.
Yeah, up there in the top lane, the Amumu gets a second double kill onto the Syndra after getting the kill into the Shen, thanks to the help of Lilia and the Vygar. The Vygar now free once more to return to lane. He is really strong, sitting there at 14. Able to 1v1 his lane opponent. The Nocturne ulting to charge in. He's popped his ability, and now he threw out his shield. The Nocturne will get the kill on the Vygar thanks to the help of his teammates. Morgana coming in and does get the double kill onto the Amumu. This is also a shutdown,
which is going to be helpful for the Nocturne. But like I said, he should have more AD. So like this gold that's being funneled into him right now will not scale properly, or scale the way that they want it to, and he won't be able to take over the game, as you have like what, the Zyra, the Mumu, the Vygar peel from this Nocturne, where you want to just get in there, instantly one shot, because you won't be able to continue auto attacking, because this build focuses on auto attacking. He He has the attack speed jungle item. He has the Bork, and and he also has lethal tempo as his rune choice. He really wants to auto, but there's no room for him to auto this game. So it'll just be extremely difficult to do what he plans to do, unless he catches out like what we just saw, the Veigar alone, and is able to just auto him down after his cage is up or down rather.
Yeah. However, looking at the differences between the Amumu, the two junglers, there is quite a disparity between the Nocturne and the Amumu right now. Just looking at item-wise and their CS.
But just like tanks in general, you don't have to have gold to be effective. And Amumu is one of those junglers with a game-changing ultimate here. So we're not looking... So although the gold disparity... Oh, we have...
Oh yeah, we see Misfortune getting stopped with the stun. And the black shield being used on the Morgana.
That's no team fighting capabilities for this dragon, which might be worrisome as all 5 or 4 Aces Penguins are balling with the Shen pushing top. And then Veigar is looking, or the Nocturne is looking in.
Stunned, he's been nearsighted. The Nocturne goes in but falls to the Zyra. They're gonna get the dragon on the side of Bronze X Penguins. Veigar is getting out of there alive now. As their team turns and charges, they get the Drowsy onto the Syndra. Syndra falls down to the Misfortune. And now it's Tristana and Morgana getting gunned down by the deer. It's a completely different story as now it's Bambi doing the damage instead of the Hunter.
That is impressive. And she did go the Rylai, so she wants to be kind of a utility focus for her team, and honestly, applaud to that. She's doing great. She's able to abuse this Ghost and the exhaust for her team to be able to survive, and this Nocturne is building more attack speed. I'm very confused on what he's doing. He, as we were just shown, he jumps in, he can auto like 3 times, and then he'll just die. So he needs to be able to do damage instantly rather than over time, and as we get into these later fights when what the Bronze X Penguins are looking for are team fights. And it seems that the Aces Angels are trying to match them in these team fights, but they will never win. It won't happen. It's just, so they have to play a different style of playing side lane pressure with the Shen and with the oh no, I thought the Syndra had TP, but like going 4-1 with the Nocturne floating around, looking on the picks on the side lane onto the Lilia, but she's building a Frozen Heart now. It's gonna be very hard to kill her, and it's directly countering the Nocturne.
Nocturne popping his ult, going in on Lilia, who's now fleeing, being chased down by the Shen and the Nocturne. They are gonna get the shutdown onto the Lilia.
And I guess I was wrong. I guess the auto attack does help with taking down these very strong and armor-focused builds of the side of Bronze X Penguins.
It also helps catching someone out in the river like that, you know, just without any allies to jump in a 2v1. The Shen and the Nocturne are just able to force that Lilia to really take that fight, cutting off her both. As there's another fight down here in mid lane. Misfortune getting stunned and rooted is going to fall to the Shana. However, there's now root onto the Morgana and the Tristana. Morgana falling, as well as the Syndra. Tristana barely getting out of there with a little bit of her health. Now it looks like Bronze X Penguins want to turn top lane and go deal with that Nocturne and that Shen, who have now pushed in towards the center tower.
Yeah, the flank from the Zyra, it's very hard. So if, like I said, the Penguins do have a team fighting comp. So if they do find these team fighting moments where the Zyra can basically root the whole team, ult the whole team, it's devastation. And it looks like they might want to get this top river control, see what they can do for a dragon. This team does not take dragon fast. We have Amumu, Veigar, and Lilia, who are not the best, and then you have Misfortune, whose whole kit is to attack more than one target. Nocturne blocks the ult.
Notably, they are on Dragon Soul now, and it is going to be a Cloud Soul. The ultimate cooldown reduction on that would be very, very powerful for either side in this fight. As we do see now a team fight going down, the Amumu going to shut down the Tristana, throwing up the cage walls for a rumble in the cage. The Nocturne goes in against Lilia. Everyone's been blinded across the map. He's chasing her down, but the Lilia is able to stay alive throughout the whole time and is now turning the damage onto the Nocturne, who's flashed to try to get out of range. But the Lilia is so fast, she's just going to run down this Nocturne. The Shen's on low health, coming up, being chased by the rest of the Bronze X Penguins, isn't going to be able to help, and now it's a double kill for the Lilia.
This Rylai is paying for itself. You're
Talk
able to...
about unfortunate pathing there.
And like I was explaining before, this is where the bad part of this build comes in. So you don't want to focus these armor heavy targets. You want to focus the Misfortune, who only has an IE and an Essence Reaver and no resistances whatsoever, as well as the Zyra, who might be an important target as well in fights. So Nocturne doesn't understand his role in this game, and that's really unfortunate for Ace's Angels. And then the whole item buys on the side of Ace's Angels is just not optimal for what they want. We see Syndra has a Morellonomicon. For what healing, Willis? What healing does the Bronze X Penguins have that Morellonomicon will be effective?
Yeah, I really don't see a lot of healing on the side. They may just be somehow mistaking Lilia for the fact that how long she stays in fights and stays healthy. I'm really unsure about why they're picking up that Morellonomicon for the Grievous wounds.
Very questionable choice. All you need really is the Oblivion Orb, and the Mumu goes in for the engage.
Yeah, he's gonna get taunted by the Shen and all. Nocturne throwing his ult up. This time it looked like that ult was there for to help the rest of his team escape, as he's gonna fall to the whole side of Bronze X Penguins, who are now stunned. They're turning the side. Syndra shuts down the Zyra, but now they're gonna flash over the wall. Misfortune getting the kill onto that Tristana. Meanwhile, the Lilia is chasing down that Morgana. She's gonna change targets. She's going for that Syndra. Syndra, who's pulled the red buff and is now like getting caught out of position. We see the Dragon Soul goes to the side of the Bronze X Penguins, as there's no contention there.
No contention indeed. And the Nocturne, if we kind of review that fight, the Nocturne went in there relying on the Shen shield, but nothing came out of it. He just goes in there and dies. He cannot go on these targets such as Veigar, such as Amumu, such as Lilia, because they have the armor and Veigar has the Zhonya's. It's pointless basically. They have to play the game differently. They are playing a team fighting way without a team fighting comp. And it's honestly, that is why they're losing. They need to play the game differently. They have a weird view of the game, and they're also building wrong. It's just these two fundamental problems that they need to fix in this game, and they can potentially win. As picks on the sides, but Lilia goes in.
Yep, Lilia really charging in there. Amumu now at the front. Lilia coming in and getting the confirm onto the Morgana. That is not good for any potential team fights, as the Black Shield is so good at preventing a lot of these abilities. As we see Nocturne charging in now, going after the Amumu, who's targeted and gunned down with the help of Misfortune. They're going to take down that Syndra, but now the Amumu and the Nocturne both fall. The Zyra and the Tristana getting those kills there, as Bronze X Penguins just have all the pressure in their world to just keep pushing up this mid. The Tristana and the Shen are doing whatever they can to hold it off, but the Veigar is just split pushing into the bottom. He's gonna get to this tower, and it looks like he will get this tower. Misfortune gonna get the turret kill up here in the mid. They're now gonna get this inhibitor core. That's just gonna have so much more pressure for Bronze X Penguins.
These inhibitors should be down for about, I believe the timer's about 5 minutes, which completely frees up Elder and Baron for Bronze X Penguins. So I'm expecting either you take one or you take both, and then you kind of run it down top. As a 5-man team, as the goal of your comp is to team fight, and if you're forcing the enemy into these chokes, into these different objectives, it'll be very easy for you to kind of control what you want to do with the GLP and the Twin Shadows on the Vigar, and then you have the Amumu with the threatening of the ult, as well as the Zyra ult and the Misfortune ult, all shutting off chokes. It's all about chokes now to control these objectives, and you can't move in this game as the Aces Angels. It's so difficult to just kind of move forward.
Yeah, the Nocturne, talking about moving forward, is all the way up in the enemy jungle. This is a huge mistake as he runs into 2 members of Bronze X Penguins and just dies without being able to do anything.
He was useful. He was useful. Don't get me wrong. I don't know how long ago, but I'm gonna say, and we gotta pick on the Syndra.
Yeah, it looks like the Vigar and the Amumu are going in, but Ace's Angels are gonna get out of there. The Shen ulted over just to make sure and protect on that one.
So, if I'm not mistaken, this Nocturne was 6-1-2 earlier. He is now 6-1-6. He has done almost nothing for his team. It is mighty unfortunate that this is the case, as he needs to kind of go back to the drawing board with what he wants to accomplish and kind of look at what his team offers and what he can offer to his team. And it seems as he's like that X factor that's holding them back, as well as item builds. Again, we have not even the IE yet on the Tristana, which is her power spike. I would have much rather had an IE rapid fire and then followed up by a Last Whisper item, because we see all 3 members on the top side of Bronze X Penguins have some sort of armor, where Amumu has the armor item against her. And they're just starting up Baron for free as they can. They have complete control out of everything. And we have the Vigar trying to control.
Popping his ult to go in after this Vigar, who is fleeing. He's gonna get chased down. Nocturne gonna get that 600 gold shutdown. But now the rest of Ace's Angels are gonna try to pick this fight. They're gonna try to stop the Baron take. However, it's just not enough. The Baron goes down way too fast. The Shen teleporting. He's gonna come up here. Now he charges in. They're turning this around on the Bronze X Penguins. This is actually really good for Ace's Angels. The Amumu going down. Tristana getting the double kill. But now, however, the Nocturne falls at the hands, but Tristana jumping over, going to get the kill on the Misfortune. Lilia is the only one's going to get out of there for the Bronze X Penguins. That was an amazing turnaround for Ace's Angels.
Down almost 10k gold. That was extremely impressive how they played out that fight. Again, singling out a target with the Nocturne ult is key to their play style, and that's what they accomplished. And then they were able to move in as a 5-man unit, with Shen being a little bit late, and take the fight 4v5. That's exactly how they want to play this game. And we'll have to see if they can continue to try to pull this off, or will the grouping of the Bronze X Penguins be a lot tighter as we get into this late game, with Vigar finishing off his Rabadon's death cap. He will be explosive.
As we now see the Elder Dragon himself is on the field. It looks like Bronze X Penguins really want to make a play for this. Really top off their team fighting capability. They've already got the Vigar down there with the Zyra, both getting caught out. However, the stun onto the Nocturne, he's gonna fall, but he will get the Zyra, as now it's turning around. The Lilia getting the double kill onto the Morgana. They're gonna gun down that Syndra, and now the Tristana and the Shen are gonna have to run out of here. 4 members of Bronze X Penguins are still up as they get the kill onto Tristana. Shen circling around to the back part of the pit. They're gonna get this Elder Dragon.
TP. They can just TP mid lane with the Vigar and end, but they will secure this dragon first, and this is the end. This is the end of the game. They only have the Shen up. No, we have Baron on the Lilia still, and they can't clear.
Yeah, we see now middle inhibitor falling. Vigar and Lilia are up here, throwing up the cage. The Shen can't cross that, or else he's just going to get gunned down. He's going to charge in after the Vigar. However, he's now getting turned on, as the Vigar and the Lilia are just dishing out so much damage. He's going to fall. We see an ace for the sides of Bronze X Penguins as Nocturne comes up, but the zoning from the Vigar and the Misfortune are going to stop him from getting out there, as the core will fall.
And GG to the Bronze X Penguins. That Vagar, by the end of the game, had more than 1.1 thousand AP. He was extremely strong during that game. But I want to talk about the Lilia. She was the X factor this game. She not only 1v2'd in her own jungle versus a Nocturne and Shen, but she was able to run down the whole rest of the team with that advantage she created for the Amumu and enabling him to do what he wants in his own jungle. The whole Bronze X Penguin knew what teamwork was, and they accomplished it with that Lilia pick. In my opinion, was great.
I really have to agree with that. The Lilia was constantly across the map chasing down the members of Ace's Angels, really showing and putting the hurt onto them with the Ghost and the Exhaust, just running them down in 1v2s and 1v1s, while the rest of our team were able to accomplish the rest of their objectives.
Lilia was definitely MVP for me this game. There's nothing else that there's actually nothing that the Aces Angels could do because they didn't have point and click CC for the Lilia. They didn't have good enough kind of dive onto her with the Nocturne where he built attack speed instead of AD. There's pretty much nothing that they can do versus the Lilia, and it really showed.
Exactly. Now, on the opposite side, talking about Aces Angels, is there anyone in mind you had as an ace, someone who was doing their best to try to keep their team in there?
Nocturne. Although his item build was pretty horrendous, it was Nocturne because he tried his best. He was getting in there. He's getting kills. He's trying to put his team on his back with the Shen to support him. He was the carry that game, but he couldn't carry hard enough as Bronze X Penguins team fight capabilities is ridiculous. And now we have to cut to a short break to wait for game 2 of this exciting battle of Aces Angels versus Bronze X Penguins.
Stick around.
Welcome back, everyone, for game 2 of Aces Angels versus the Bronze X Penguins. Like we just saw, we saw Bronze X Penguins show what teamwork really meant with their team fighting comp. And I'm looking forward to see what the Bronze X Penguins can kind of show up on the second game as well, or can Ace's Angels bring back the game and finish it off with a 1-1 draw?
Exactly. For me, it's all about the redemption story. Aces Angels can do this. You know, in game one, they showed that they have a lot of these mechanical skills and technical skills. We just need to see them come together as a team now and drive a spear through the hearts of Bronze X Penguins.
And let's just get right into the draft. And looking at this draft, we have Bronze X Penguins on blue side, Aces Angels on red side, and we'll start off with the Alistar. Alistar is B1 pick and is extremely questionable. As we see the bans, there's no Morgana ban, and we've seen Aces Angels already play the Morgana. And that's the exact answer that they have for the Alistar, is that Morgana pick. And now I'm worried for Bronze X Penguins kind of fighting in lane as well as fighting later, because Morgana is a very kind of oppressive pick over the Alistar. And then the answer with the Aces Angels is obviously the Morgana, follow up with the Kha'Zix. So last game, Kha'Zix was Nocturne, and he was hard carrying. So I think he wants to take that to another level, but guarantee that he cannot mess up his build and builds full AD on Kha'Zix to be the carry for his team. And I'm very excited to see what Aces Angels Kha'Zix can pull off. And then going back to the blue side, we have the answer with the Jarvan and a Kassadin. And now I'm a little bit concerned, because Alistar is weak into the Morgana lane, so obviously the Aces Angels will have a winning lane bot lane. And when you pick the Kassadin, you're telling me that you also want a losing lane mid lane. So now you have to rely on this top laner for BXP to be either hard stomping carry lane, or to just have a counter that he'll be able to win in transition and kind of secure a good rest of the game for the Bronze X Penguins. And the answer to that is a Tristana mid, which is very, very good for Ace. And then the second round of bans go through, and then we have a Samira or a Kai'Sa picked up from Ace, which is their bot laner, which is good with the Morgana, followed by Samira, which is, I believe, one of the first picks we've seen for Seal, as well as a Malphite. And now it's all downhill for Bronze X Penguins. They basically have 3 losing lanes, because they got countered bot lane, they got countered mid lane, and now they're getting countered in top lane. This is very worrisome.
Yeah, that Mordekaiser can be really strong in the 1v1. His ability to just really stay alive and at the same time dish out so much potential damage, as well as isolate any member of the enemy team with his ultimate. It's just a downhill losing lane. I mean, as much as I'm one for the Malphite, that matchup is pretty tough.
Horrendous. And let's see the actual effects of this matchup as we jump into game 2 of BXP versus Ace.
Masaki!
And it seems that this time they don't want to do any level 1 shenanigans. Ace learned their lesson, but it seems as the Bronze X Penguins did not. And they're looking for this kind of control of bot side into the Morgana. Or, you know, actually, it does seem that they want to get these 5 points. Never mind. They want to control the game. They don't want anything to happen. So it's just waiting on what... That's 5 stack in bot lane, though. They're honestly expecting invade, but they've already warded. They'll see right through it, but Ace has learned their lesson again. They're staying back, and now they have the better comp here. Ace definitely has the better comp here to win early and mid-game fights. All early and mid-game fights are in the hands of Ace. But once it hits that level 16 power spike of the Kassadin, and then the Malphite, who becomes so tanky he can't die, that's when it kind of goes downhill for the for Ace's Angels. But seeing these games, I don't think it'll go that late. The Kassadin pick needs to have kind of strong lanes around him, but he does not. and it'll be very hard for the Aces Angels to kind of combat this giving up literally everything in the early to mid game. Like, what is the first dragon? The first dragon is a water dragon. This is great for Aces Angels kind of early game, as they want this kind of sustain in the lane to be able to poke out the Kassadin, the Malphite in sustained fights with the Mordekaiser and Tristana. And we'll see what the dragons do become later on to the game. It's worrisome, and we see something interesting. Jarvan has no jungle items.
Oh yeah, that is right. He's gone ahead and he's started several as jungle, but he has no items. Now, do you think this is a mistake, or is this some sort of cheeky strategy?
No, he realized it. He had to recall at the wolf camp to buy the machete, and we'll see what this will result in. That is very interesting.
In the top lane, Mordekaiser and Malphite in a prolonged trade, and this is exactly going to be the story for this entire lane. The Malphite is just going to go in, or the Mordekaiser is going to go in, and it's just going to go downhill for this Malphite. As any attempt for him to get out, the Mordekaiser is going to pull him in. Mordekaiser's passive is just going to put so much damage on the Malphite, and especially early on, this Malphite's just not going to have the damage to go trade for trade for trade.
Yeah, it's definitely the case, but he did opt to a Dorn's Ring to try to sustain early fights, and Samira and Alistar are getting extremely aggressive early, so this seems it's actually better than I thought it was, and Kha'Zix kind of showing that he is the Chad in the jungle this game, versus the Jarvan, who's having trouble clearing because he had to back early. And I'd like to point out an interaction that I did not know existed. We have Samira, whose passive is, on CC'd enemies, you knock them up with your guns, right? And it seems it's not considered an ability in like the normal sense, because Morgana's Black Shield blocks kind of CC abilities, correct? Yeah. But she is not blocking the knockup after Alistar's WQ combo on the Kai'Sa. There's always a knockup after, even through the Black Shield. And that is actually very interesting if you have a lane like a Samira Zyra, where you can, or like actually just this lane itself. You have the Alistar who knocks up if the Morgana can't react fast enough, and then you have the Samira knocking up through the Black Shield. It's really dirty, honestly, and I'd expect something different where the knockup is completely cancelled, but I guess not. It's just how it is, and we see the Tristana forcing the Kassadin to recall. He does have TP, so it won't be that bad, but he opted towards Electrocute as well. Malphite also has Electrocute. This is probably the downfall of the Bronze X Penguins. You cannot run Electrocute into these lanes, as you'll be so far behind. There's no kill pressure that you offer until later into the game. So Kassadin is basically losing so much health, because the other option is Fleet Footwork. That is a phenomenal item. And oh, there's the reaction.
In the bot lane, Alistar going in, and now Samira's been rooted by the Morgana. The Kai'Sa is doing everything she can. We see the flash off of the Samira is gonna confirm her safety. She'll be able to get out of there. The Jarvan coming down just in case those Morgana and Kai'Sa really wanted to be testy and go in.
But yeah, talking about Electrocute, the Kassadin will not be able to proc it this game, basically, and then his build too. He's gonna have a very, very hard time this game, because not only does he have to scale his tier, he also has to scale his Rod of Ages. It would have been a lot better this game if he just completely, although it's a little worse, don't get me wrong, it is a little worse that if he doesn't go tier, but he'd be able to spike earlier to be able to be a threat, as Samira's been nerfed extremely hard for early game as well. So she needs items to scale now. She needs levels as well. So
and now the Mordekaiser are going in top lane, getting a little bit of trade. Sorry about that. We'll have to keep hearing what you were talking about.
Oh, Malphite ults onto turret.
Oh yeah, Malphite trying to get out of there is gonna briefly go in on that Mordekaiser. He's down at half health. The Malphite really has to get out of there. He has no mana, he has no health, and this Mordekaiser, with his potential shield, should be able to survive the clapback of the turret. However, the Kazakhs chasing down this Malphite is not gonna find him.
This Dark Harvest is very good as well because it allows him to scale. As the whole... Do we have the flash? On bot side.
Oh yeah, bot side going in. Black Shield onto herself is going to keep the Morgana safe away from the Jarvan and the Alistair. And that's going to be a little bit of a wasted opportunity there. Unfortunately, they weren't able to make anything out of it. Quick reaction timing from the Kai'Sa and the Morgana player. The Tristana going hard against this Kassadin. The Jarvan coming up the river. It looks like they want to try something. But the Jarvan is going to have been spotted when he stepped right next to that bush, that control ward. He's going to give a little bit of him away. The Kazakh seems to be aware of his position. Going to jump over the wall. The Tristana going in. And the first blood, finally, for the Kazakhs getting the kill on the Jarvan. They're now free to try to get this kill on the Kassadin, who's going to push back a little bit before staying back at safety within his turret range.
Did you see that level difference? That machete buy mistake early on has put him 3 levels behind his jungler and 4 levels behind his solo laners. This Jarvan, it was supposed to be their saving grace, as he is a bit of a like an early game jungler to help out his lanes, but now it's just like a downfall. It's the game is in Aces Angels' hands, and now let's see if they can actually kind of commit to finishing off this game. We have the TP bot.
Oh yeah, they're going in. Alistair getting stunned. The TP from the Malphite. He ults into the Morgana, getting the kill. And that is exactly what we want to see out of this Malphite. If he can't break the Mordekaiser, you're gonna want to go and break someone else.
And the Malphite's going AP. That's why he has Electrocute. This is very worrying, because now they have no frontline tank. Because Jarvan was, it seems, was supposed to be the tank on the side of Bronze X Penguins, but now they have no tank as he's only level 4 and Kazakh's just hit level 7. The level deficit is incredible. Kazakh's can, if he so pleases, if he knows where the Jarvan is, can walk into the jungle and kill him over and over again to get to this late game Kazakh's that he wants to be at.
There's also quite a gold difference between the two of them, as the Jarvan had to dedicate so much time to going back and getting his machete early on.
And is also giving up his blue now. This is putting him behind, sure, and I guess the Kassadin wants it for his tier, but it's not good for him this early in the game.
Prolonged fight. The Mordekaiser popping his ult. The Malphite is in the death realm. He's just going to have to try to survive this, but the Mordekaiser is so proficient at getting those kills in those 1v1. That matchup, the Malphite doesn't really stand much of a chance when he gets pulled into the death realm like that.
And he's EP, so he can't even tank it if he wanted to. Fight in mid lane. Seems that Tristana just straight up gets a solo kill.
Yeah, the Tristana is going to get that kill on to the Kassadin. What a complete waste of the blue buff. Now in the hands of the Tristana. The Jarvan now far behind for little gains.
Yeah, so this Tristana, and now this Tristana's building properly. She's going for that IE. It would have been better if she went a more kind of offensive build, because that's more of a scaling, but she wants to get this early game damage in.
And now the Jarvan getting jumped, just like you said. The Kazakhs was feeling so ballsy. He chased him through his jungle. The Mordekaiser coming to save the Kazakhs from the Malphite, who had to divert away from lane to save his jungler. But now the Mordekaiser's free to just walk out. You know, the Malphite and the Jarvan on quarter health can't tango with the Mordekaiser, who has a Kazakhs who was hanging out nearby. The Kazakhs is free to go right back into jungling, while the Jarvan has to just go back and reset.
Again, he's down 50 farm now. The Kazakh's farming so much, he has a bounty on his head. This is... it's getting worse and worse by the minute. It's gonna be very hard for the Bronze X Penguins to come back, and they're gonna have to rely on a few things. They're gonna have to rely on the Malphite with the follow-up of the Samira and the Alistar, because Cassidy will do no damage, and Jarvan is so far behind, he can't. He won't do damage either. He can CC, quote unquote, but his ult is completely mitigated from the 3 carries on the side of Ace's Angels, with the Tristana jumping away, with the Kai'Sa ulting out, and with the Kha'Zix also jumping out. And Kha'Zix and Kai'Sa and the Tristana should also never be in a position to be ulted from the Jarvan. So it's super hard to play this game on the side of the Bronze X Penguins. The Malphite is their only saving grace right now. But
Dragon has been up for quite some time now. No one really looking like they want to try to take it, although we do see now the Alistar coming in clearing out some of the wards. But I really don't think their jungler's in a position to come down and help this. If the Kha'Zix wanted to, he could just come in there. Now we see the root onto the Samira. The Alistar coming in to body block for him is going to get the stun. They're going to get the knock up on to the Morgana, but now that's ended. Now the Kai'Sa's free to go in for the engage and force back the Alistar and the Samira. The Alistar even popping his ultimate there in that fight to make sure he got out of there alive. The Kha'Zix coming in. Now they want to get this dragon. They dropped the Rift Herald here in the river, saying, what are you going to do? You going to contest our dragon, or are you going to go and deal with this Rift Herald?
I think that was a mistake, but it, again, does put pressure on the spot lane again, and now allows the Kha'Zix to invade. He's straight up on the red, steals the red. He can now head ball lane to go for a dive.
He's gonna head off the Jarvan, and he's gonna get this kill. The Jarvan doesn't have much of a chance in a 1v1 fight.
It's so hard now, and we have Kha'Zix should be getting this dragon now. It's a free objective. Both his mid lane and his bot lane, even his top lane if he wants to TP, are pushed in, so they're free to do so. Tristana is complete control of this game. That's a 400 free gold for her for taking first tower. She is 2,000 gold ahead. This is off of plates, off of first tower, off of a kill, off of an assist, off of 30 extra minions. She is so far ahead of this game, she'll be able to take over before the Kai'Sa can even finish her man immune.
The gold disparity level is starting to rise between the two teams. Right now, we're sitting at a 6,000 gold advantage on the side of Ace's Angels, and this is exactly what they want to see after that last game. The Tristana is now going to get the kill onto the Cassidy in that bush, furthering her lead in the mid lane. Well, in the top lane, the Mordekaiser will get, once again, the kill onto the Malphite. This is just going to be the story of the game, unfortunately, up there. If the Malphite tries to go in for those 1v1s, the Mordekaiser is going to get those kills. As we see a couple disconnects and brief reconnects from both the Jarvan and the Alistar.
Seems that they did DC in game, so although we don't see it, there's probably a pause to allow them to reconnect to the game. And there's a TP on bot. They look like they want to force something.
Yeah, it looks like the Malphite coming in. The Black Shield and the Morgana right now holding up. Now the Black Shield's been broken.
Waiting for
Here's the
Samira.
Malphite. He goes in with the ball. They knock her up, and the Samira will confirm the kill onto the Morgana. And the power of the Malphite to come and influence these fights.
They're waiting for this Malphite to be the engage, but since he's AP, his engage, although very damaging, will let him die immediately after. If he doesn't ult the whole team, we'll make him die. And now we have the Mordekaiser pushing freely top from the TP. We have the Samira, or the Tristana was hitting the tier 2 mid lane. She is almost had her Stormrazor. The Stormrazor here is good because she wants to go full damage. She has Hail of Blades, she has her Q. There's actually no reason for her to build any sort of attack speed. And she wants to show off that she can do that by getting this Stormrazor, and there's no armor. There's like 2 cloth armors I see in this game. And then another cloth armor basically on Alistar. This Tristana will run over this game. There's nothing. The Kha'Zix will be able to one-shot everything. The Tristana will also based on her build, based on her kind of rune choice and how she's playing the game, will be able to one-shot everyone. Kai'Sa, although a little bit behind now, will start be able to do this type of damage. She also has Halo Blade, so she's looking for these kind of quick kills. And it's looking very worrisome for Bronze X Penguins. It looks like they won't be able to do anything. One auto attack does 200 health on this Caston without a crit.
Yeah, and I mean the Jarvan is just not in a position to really support him. The Jarvan's over here, but it's such a big risk because it could just turn in their favor. He's on level 7, the Tristana's on level 12, and his enemy jungler, the Kha'Zix, is on level 11. Now the Tristana gonna steal a Raptor there, take a pot shot at this. The Mordekaiser walked his way down, as it looks like maybe Ace's Angels really want to take some pressure down here in the bot lane, and they will with the Morgana getting the kill on the Smear. The Alistair being chased down. The Kha'Zix hopping over there, trying to get the kill. The Jarvan's going to body block, but the Malphite ult will shut down that Kha'Zix as they're forced to chase the Jarvan cage. The arena is not going to get the kill, and he's in fact going to die to the Kai'Sa, who is black shielded by the Morgana. That is a key black shield there, saving the life. The Mordekaiser is now cutting off the retreat for the Malphite. He's stuck between two forces of enemy champions. This Mordekaiser is really gonna do work as he's stopping the minion wave and allowing this Morgana to get the kill into the Malphite.
That Kai'Sa, looking at that Jarvan, basically told her, "You're not stuck in here with me." Or no, it's, "I'm not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with me." And proceeds to just auto-attack him to death. There's nothing this Jarvan can do. He was 2 levels down on the ADCs, and usually the ADC and the support get the least amount of XP in a game because they're always together. And she was still able to kind of do whatever she wants, really. Kai'Sa's unbelievably strong compared to Jarvan, but Jarvan's so behind. He is, like I mentioned before, he was supposed to be the tank, but he can't tank anything.
Yeah, they're now 10,000 gold down against the other side.
And it's not even 20 minutes yet. Baron hasn't even spawned. Baron is up in a minute. It's felt like a lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about, like, looking at just the top lane. Mordekaiser's already completed his first item. He's got his Mercury Treads, and he's almost finishing his second item. Whereas the Malphite is just barely starting.
And then also on mid lane, we have Tristana on her third item, where Kassadin is barely halfway done his second. Look at that damage.
There is just so much, so many advantages into the side of Ace's Angels this game. They're really here, and they are looking like they're in a good position to take revenge. The Kha'Zix coming up through the jungle. He might actually get the Jarvan. The Jarvan had no wards on that side of the jungle, as the Kha'Zix will get the kill. The poor Jarvan there, just trying to farm up in his own jungle, as the rude Kha'Zix will come and invade.
It is mighty unfortunate.
So now we see Malphite going in. The Kha'Zix has to jump to get out of there, but the Tristana gets the kill onto the Kassadin, who is in the back line there. There's not much the Malphite can do to prevent that. Now the Mordekaiser, they're going to get this turret, and they're going to chase down the Malphite. The Malphite knows this. He's going to fall back to his inner turret. While in the bot lane, we see a lot of poking attempts between the Morgana, the Kai'Sa, the Samir, and the Alistair. Both sides just poking in and out. While in the top lane, we see another fight. We see Jarvan charging in again with his spear. The Tristana will get the kill onto the Malphite.
Now it's just a matter of Ace grouping up and running it down mid. And
the Death Realm onto the Jarvan. He doesn't stand a chance. The Mordekaiser is gonna get this kill onto the Jarvan. Oh, the flash! He dodges the obliterate on the Mordekaiser, meaning he's gonna get out of there alive.
Big knock up.
But the Mordekaiser actually does fall down to the Kassadin. They've grouped up. Bronze X Penguins here have responded to the hard pressure by grouping forward and taking care of the enemy champions at the top. But now their mid lane is completely exposed. No more inhibitor there.
It's now a matter of So individually, the Bronze X Penguins suck. Like, they're so behind on builds, they're so behind on on levels. There's nothing they can do alone. But if they find these kind of fights where they're at numbers advantages and kind of time cooldowns, time summoner spells, they're able to kind of move in and take advantage of them. Like we saw on the Tristana being low health, but Jarvan tries to walk up to do a camp and...
Yeah, no, the Tristana will get that kill thanks to the help of the Kaisa. The
Precision
Cassidy then not able to even get out there in time. Both of the Samir and Cassidy looked like they wanted to come over to support him, but he just doesn't have the health.
It's sad. That's all I've got to say. So now they have Baron. They are a very fast Baron taking team. We have Kha'Zix, we have Mordekaiser, and then we also have Kaisa. These three champs are great at taking Baron, or they take not Dragon, but Baron rather. They're very good at taking Baron. Or you can just take Dragon, or you can group up as 5 and use the power of the super minions to just end the game. You go 4-1 with the Mordekaiser on the bot lane or on the top lane, it depends where you want him. But you'd probably want him bot lane for his TP pressure towards Baron. But it's out of the hands of Bronze X Penguins now. It's all up to Ace to make the plays to either end this game now or potentially let it stall long enough for Kassadin to hit level 16. He's at level 13 now, so 3 more levels and we'll see him turn online. But he also got a 450 gold shutdown earlier, which is worrisome because it lets him scale a little bit better. He is not finishing his Seeker's Arm Guard into the Zanyas.
Angels are grouping up. We got, like you said, the 4-1 split. 4 of their members are pushing top. They're going to get this inhibitor. As Mordekaiser in the bot lane is tangoing with this Kassadin, he's going to try to pull him out and get some damage on him. But in the top lane, this inhibitor's very low. When this next minion wave gets here, Ace's Angels is undoubtedly going to get it.
They're waiting for the mid lane. These super minions are so strong, the pressure from them as well is extremely powerful. They are just waiting for these minions to crash into the turret where the Bronze X Penguins cannot respond and they can get free objectives for themselves.
Yeah, and now once again the Kassadin has to come down to the bot lane to try to deal with this Mordekaiser, who was looking low, but now thanks to that shield, thanks to his W, he's back up in half health. The Jarvan going in, throwing the cage up, once again showing that he can't win those fights. The Mordekaiser getting the kill on the Kha'Zix, but or the Malphite getting the kill on the Kha'Zix, I mean, but it's not gonna do much as the Samira and the Alistar fell. Both top lane inhibitor and mid lane inhibitor are down. They're gonna start taking down these inner turrets. One's down already. It looks like they're gonna get this second one. And now that this is open, the Death Realm thrown up onto the Kassadin just to stop him from doing anything to the rest of the team. As the core goes down, Ace's Angels gets their revenge and takes game 2.
Very decisively as well. Phenomenal gameplay on the side of Ace's Angels. And the highlight for me is honestly the mid lane. To me, it's so oppressive. She was able to not only get an advantage through mid lane, through this Tristana pick, but use it so well that she alone was able to get the mid lane turret, all of its plates, which is about I'm going to say about 800 gold, plus the first turret gold, which is an extra 400. That's 1,200 gold right there alone onto her, and this was all on her, and she was able to then run over the rest of the game. It's unfortunate that Jarvan wasn't able to do anything because of his item purchase early on in the game, or his lack of it for that matter, but Tristana pulled through and destroyed the game. It was impressive.
I have to agree with you there. You know, the Tristana really carried their team. I will also have to throw praise over to Archangel on the Malphite, doing his best to apply pressure on team fights, teleporting down frequently to throw the bowling ball up and to get those single kills here and there, trying to rally his team together.
Yeah, Malphite is probably the pick that I would do. Malphite tried his best, but with the combination of the counter pick top lane as well as his rune choice, he kind of dug himself a hole that he couldn't get out of. The Malphite blind is best when it's tank, but he didn't go tank. He went AP. So that kind of wraps up these set of games for BXP and Ace. It ended up being a draw, 1-1, which might be great when they look to the playoffs in a couple of weeks.
Exactly. Congratulations to both teams for their victories today, you know. And thank you all to everyone for watching the game of Aces Angels versus Bronze X Penguins. We have more games coming up shortly, but we're going to have to cut to a break.